Is that how you feel? Like me sometimes when you're uploading to YouTube a video you worked on so hard for so many hours, you thought it was the best idea, and it's like crickets when it comes to views. Well, I've been a creator for 16 plus years. I know exactly how that feels. And I just want you to know you're not alone, because creators on YouTube right now are frustrated with the low amounts of views they're getting, especially to what they used to do and what they expect to get. And if you're a beginner, it might be even worse. So today I'm gonna be talking about the one thing that's happening on YouTube that's very unique, that's never happened in 10 plus years of being on YouTube, and some of my thoughts on how to fix this. By the way, Austin All here is also with me. One thing that's unique about Austin, he's gonna be talking about it. He started a channel from 0 subscribers this year and has had the opposite experience because of his awareness of what's going on. So Austin, any thoughts before we get started?
No, I'm excited to talk about what you're seeing on the platform, because it's really helped me, it really has.
For sure, thank you so much. And yeah, so what is going on YouTube right now that's causing low amounts of views? You're not the only one. I hear from creators all the time, both individual creators as well as creators with huge teams and resources and support. Well, there's a few variables that are kind of all happening at one time. So the first one that's never happened, a competing format. We know how popular TikTok has been in the last, I want to say like 4 years especially. Of course, it started with Musical.ly back in 2015, but short form content has competed with YouTube. But it's worse for YouTube because guess what? YouTube has integrated YouTube Shorts on the platform. So you're literally competing against a whole new form of content on YouTube. It's already hard enough being a creator, long form creator, and it's weird to even say long form because it was always long form. Like you might have had a shorter video, but you didn't have to compete against this vertical thing. So just imagine this, when I say competing, it's not just the fact that people have these options, it's also the fact that when you go to your suggested feed as a viewer, sometimes the first thing that you see are YouTube Shorts before those long form video options, or the ones that you would click on, that your subscribers would see, that viewers would click through and go to your video, go to your channel. So that is one huge thing that's never happened before, and I would argue is probably one of the main factors in terms of who you're competing with. And it sucks that inevitably you're competing against other YouTubers. See, I've always experienced all these years I've been on this platform as this was a great community, even though it's much bigger. In the beginning, it was small, everybody kind of knew each other, and even now where you can't, there's no way you can realistically know everybody. You feel like you're all in it together, but there's this almost competition. There's almost this conflict between long form and short form, because if you're like me who loves to do long form content, I've been doing vlogs for 10 plus years, I don't really want to do shorts. I don't want to get into short form content. I'm not the only one. So there's a lot of creators who out of necessity did shorts, but don't really want to do it. Vice versa, there's short form creators coming to YouTube and they're trying to do long form, but they don't really want to do it. I do believe there's a way to coexist, but that's a whole nother story. That is literally just one factor. The second factor that's happening, guess what? There's just more competition in general. So I already talked about short form creators like TikTokers, Instagram Reels, but basically every creator from every other platform coming to YouTube, competing against you, a long form creator, or even maybe you're a YouTube Shorts creator. But also remember, what about all the creators from the last decade plus? There's just so many people that have established a home base at YouTube, and before I never thought of it as competition, but let's be real, like their videos go on to YouTube and they have to choose the algorithm what videos get placed on there. So you're competing against new shorts that are showing up on the feed, as well as other established creators. And then what about all these new creators, right, that are just getting their start? I wrote a book called YouTube Secrets because I want to teach people what I learned from a decade of being on the platform. Well, guess what? All those people that read my books, took courses, got coached, they're also on there. And there's something that YouTube is doing in addition to the YouTube Shorts being included that's really creating way more competition that people don't realize. YouTube is going out of their way to surface up some of these new channels with low subscribers, because what they know is if they give a little bit to these new channels and these creators who are just getting their start, it's going to motivate them enough to keep going, to not quit, and to be more consistent long term. Well, guess what? Every time they upload a video and they're suggesting that video in your suggested feed, that's competition with your content on top of their shorts content. So that's just two. And then the third one, the viewing opportunity is smaller. So the window of opportunity is smaller because in addition to shorts competing and then new subscribers, oh, I forgot to mention, by the way, it's not just the new subscribers, it's also everybody else knowing they need to be on YouTube. So this is both brands, businesses, just anybody that wants to have a presence on digital media knows they have to use YouTube, okay? So skipping forward back to what I was saying, it's also smaller viewing opportunities, meaning there's this trend. It's kind of an opposite. It's like contrast to short form content being like YouTube Shorts, 60-second videos. People are kind of burnt out on these shorter videos. So they're going towards longer videos. And there was this thing called the new wave of YouTube. It's been happening the last year. I noticed it. It's even influenced what I do. And it's actually helped me and Austin get way more views than we did in the past. Because this new wave of YouTube, the most basic way to say it, it's longer videos that are less produced. If you ever seen these videos like 20, 30, 45, sometimes 60+ minute videos with 1 million views, that's what's happening. The smaller window of opportunity is in that hour that a viewer is watching their videos, how many shorter videos, not just shorts, but just shorter videos. We're talking about anything less than the length of time of these longer videos. How many other videos were they watching before that they're not watching now? I recently watched this comedy special that was about 2.5 hours. And every single time I went to YouTube, whether I got in my car, wanted to listen to something, or I was running errands or doing some kind of chores in the house, I was going back to the same video and I watched the full 2.5 hours. How many other videos in the past would I have been watching? So that's every creator, every channel would have gotten, you know, maybe like in a 2-hour time. I mean, I want to argue 6 to 8 views that I would have given to 6 to 8 creators, where in this case, only one creator, only one channel got that view. In fact, I wonder if it counts as multiple views, right? I mean, we're going to go into it, but think about this. Even on the revenue side, it gets even worse. That video, that channel that got my attention for 2.5 hours throughout the day versus 6 to 8 other creators and channels that will got 100% of the ad revenue that a lot of people would have shared. So when you combine those three, short form content being a thing, shorts being part of the suggested feed, sometimes taking up the whole suggested feed right when you go into the YouTube app, on top of the fact that everybody knows they need to be on YouTube. This is short form creators from TikTok, this is established creators already on the platform, and every other business, brand, and just person that's trying to build influence. And then the third one, smaller viewing opportunities because of this new trend towards longer videos. Okay, I need to take a break. Anything I'm missing?
Well, I think I would just recap it and say that the first two really, for the most part, are all about the real estate of choosing a video. Now, there's little nuances there where there's some bits of viewing habits and the audience retention and things like that. But really, short form content, showing up on your homepage and taking up literally what would have been at least 2, if not 3 or 4 videos before is a huge deal. It means that people probably are not seeing your videos as much. And the second one, sharing suggested space, is exactly what you talked about. All of those COVID creators that started off on short form and are now migrating to long form, all of the new creators who are just starting on long form for the first time are taking away choices that they otherwise would have had for your content, most likely. The last one is significant because it's also doing that, but there's not even real estate involved there. That 2 hours that you watch that content, it's kind of crazy to think about, but you did not even have to make a choice other than to go back to YouTube and continue and pick up where you were watching before. So that is almost the most significant of all, is that long form piece of content. But all three, like you said, as we have talked about a lot, is something that has never happened before on YouTube.
I'm not just trying to make this worse. I'm actually just trying to bring this perspective up that a lot of people are not seeing, because I've been seeing it now for a while. But the flip side of it is there's less creators actually getting even more views. not just those long form creators, there's just certain channels that are just getting more views than they ever did.
They're running away with the game, basically.
Exactly, and there's really two quick takeaways here. I want to give you guys some examples as well. Two quick takeaways is, one, the longer form video creators, they're just dominating the platform because they're a contrast to those shorts. Of course, hey, I love short form creators. They're killing it, going viral, getting tons of views, but people are kind of exhausted. I mean, just think about when you go through TikTok videos or even YouTube shorts. You might watch 100 videos in 2 hours and not even remember any one of them. So people maybe kind of realize that, and they're leaning more towards those longer videos. So longer form video creators are dominating. I know with my videos in the past year on my food channel, I've been getting more views because I've just been pushing the length. The second part of it is just those creators that understand this, that they are aware of the competition. So guess what? They're leveling up their production, they're leveling up their teams, they're changing their strategies to cater to the new circumstance versus the number one mistake so many creators are making, especially ones that are established and have been on here for what, 2, 5, 10 plus years, you know, the OGs like you, myself, and other creators, and even new creators who are maybe learning from those people who succeeded in past years. They're not living in today. So I have a friend that has his own YouTube channel. He's got a team, very successful. And he told me that one thing he's noticed is you need to work harder, you need to work smarter, and you have to evolve to cater to the new challenges and the new competition that's on YouTube versus his team, who was probably trained by this person and, you know, probably knows how to do stuff. They're still living in the past. They're not evolving to the new needs of viewers, number one. Two, understanding the platform and how you have to be even more intentional about the content you create. And three, that it's a new day, it's a new game. It's not even 2023, it's 2024. And I would argue it's gonna get even more difficult, gonna be even worse in 2025, unless you're one of the few creators that understands this, that's listening to this and realizing it. And anything else that you'd add to that?
Well, I'm curious because one of the things that I know about you is that you've been around for a long time, so you've seen those changes. And really, like we talked about at the beginning,
the different eras, right?
Yeah, you gave me some advice too at the beginning of the year that let me start in 2024 and do it. But I also know that there's probably a lot of people who have either started a channel and quit, or people who are watching and are still going at it and maybe are seeing less views. And I just wonder about how you have navigated that over the last, 15 plus years of you being on YouTube.
Oh, for sure. And that's a good point, the eras, right? So let's put it into the very first era, the OG era, okay? 2005 to 2010. It was the complete Wild West. All you had to do was show up. It's like, you know, the frontier in America. You just had to show up in the West, and you just it was like literally a land grab. You're just trying to, you know, be that person that's doing this thing called YouTube, which was weird. You could basically do anything, but there's definitely certain niches that like really succeeded just because people that are watching YouTube knew YouTube for these kind of things. But you really didn't have to optimize that much. There was still a lot of gaming of YouTube. And as I said, it was the Wild West. So there wasn't as many rules and best practices and principles, okay? That was up till 2010. Then in 2010, guess what? People realized, oh shoot, I can make some legit money. And if I do this, this, and this, and also the YouTube platform and the algorithm also got smarter. They started like stopping people from gaming the system. Everything actually got better for creators. But guess what it also did? Invited more people to the platform to watch videos, but also to create content and become creators. Before that even was a term. So from 2010, all the way to 2020, you had YouTube experts, you had people like me and Sean Cannell wrote books like YouTube Secrets, you had people coaching you. There were just so many resources on top of the fact that, you know, people were still gaming YouTube, but YouTube was also getting better at suggesting the right video for the right viewers. And, you know, it was more about having short, punchy videos that got right to the point. So say you did have longer videos in those Wild West days, pre or prior to 2010. Now you are shortening them. You're optimizing your content to deliver exactly what that person wanted or what you assumed they wanted based off a search and not as much based off of suggested. If you don't know what that is, suggested is the videos that show up on the feed when you open up the YouTube app or you go to the YouTube desktop website. Those are all suggested things. More people are just trying to optimize for search. I mean, my friend Sean Cannell is a good example. He's a master at ranking videos for the search. That was the whole strategy, basically for a decade. And then bam, 2020 happens. And what was happening in that year other than the lockdowns? Short form content.
Yeah.
TikTok was already gaining a lot of real estate in terms of influence and, you know, being a platform that people were utilizing, but it just skyrocketed because people had so much free time and they were just mindlessly, you know, like going through their feeds, specifically TikTok. Instagram Reels hopped onto the scene, of course, but then YouTube Shorts came on, right? And so from 2020 to 2023, the name of the game was how much content could you put out there that just like entertain somebody's brain. So much of it, and I'm curious what you think of it, so much of it was influenced by the circumstance of people being at home, having nothing to do. So they didn't mind mindlessly scrolling through content.
Looking for time to kill.
Exactly. And so that was 2020 to 2023. That era, of course, wasn't just uniquely for shorts. It was also just content in general. So long form also. The one thing people didn't know was happening for those 3 or 4 years, that new wave of YouTube. The new wave, the contrast, you know, the cool kids like to do what everyone else isn't doing. This is why ultimately kids don't want to be on the platform their parents are on, right? So they look for other platforms. In this case, I believe there was this whole group of kids, and I think just creators in general, the cool ones, I'm not one of those, I had to learn from them, that were looking to do something different from TikTok, Reels, and YouTube Shorts. They're making these longer, more casual, less produced videos that were more about connecting. See, the beginning days of YouTube, a lot more talking head videos, less editing. I told you about until 2010 when they started editing more, highly produced, more optimized. It was like it was going back in time, but at an extreme. Now you're seeing videos, because you know, I would say the average video on YouTube that was crushing it is like between 5 minutes up to maybe 11 or 12 minutes, right? Now you're seeing 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. In a lot of cases, this is what I was seeing during that pandemic era, hour-long videos. You know, this is not what I was teaching in YouTube Secrets. This is not the best practices of that decade, 2010 to 2020, but it was getting millions of views. And I was like, what is going on? I remember going to Judy, I want to say like 2020, right? 2021, showing her, it's like, look, there's this person doing what we're doing because we have a family vlog channel, but it's an hour long and they're getting 1 million plus views and they're not doing anything. They're just like living their life, which is kind of what a vlog is. I didn't realize there was this hunger. There was this need for that type of content. And because there wasn't a lot of people doing it, there was just this small group of creators who are like, I don't care about the views. I'm not trying to optimize. I'm not trying to become this crazy popular creator. That because of that mindset, they were supplying a type of content that there was a high demand for, but lack of supply. And that was happening in the midst of shorts and TikTok and Reels getting all the attention, which brings us to 2024, the new era of YouTube. This new era of YouTube, shorts is still definitely gonna be around. TikTok's a huge competitor. There's gonna be regular videos like answering people's questions. There's definitely gonna be like vloggers, but there's just gonna be longer forms of content. And we're not just talking about YouTube creators. We're talking about celebrities, comedians doing stand-up. I told you that was like a 2 or 3 hour long video. YouTube is becoming the new TV. Now, why that actually matters in terms of why you're watching this or listening to me rant about it, if you don't know what era you're living in, you're gonna be playing an impossible game. You don't know what the rules are. I always used to say there's no rules to YouTube, right? It's a very creative platform, but there are certain rules. You can't play by the old rules. You have to play by the new rules. So there's a lot of other things I want to get into, but just realize right now, it's not just a guaranteed win for shorts. It's not a guaranteed winner for people that are overly produced or Mr. Beastified. It's not just for the people that look the best or the prettiest or the coolest. It's really for everybody, but right now, this small window of opportunity in terms of the ROI, longer videos are winning. Hence why I'm taking advantage of it for what I'm doing. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one of the big things is that we talk about viewing habits, right? That even YouTube says that the algorithm is a reflection of the actual viewing habits of the people on the platform, right? And what we see is that the biggest growth right now is in TV viewing, not in phone viewing, which was like the case for a decade, right? Not in laptop viewing, not in iPad viewing, in TV viewing. And so if you think about, as I'm sure many of these viewers who are watching right now, if you are going home at the end of the day and turning on your TV with, I don't know, whatever, your Roku or something like that, you're not like wanting to scroll through 100 videos and do that. You're choosing one of the few videos and you wanted to sit there for like half an hour or an hour and sit on either in the background or give you a chance to relax and lounge at the end of the day. It's not the same viewing habit, right? And so if YouTube is a reflection of the viewing habits of the people who are watching, you need to think about how they're actually experiencing that video in a longer term, basically, in that regard.
For sure. I mean, and he didn't mention it specifically, but the YouTube app being on the smart TV is one of the things that, who would have ever thought that that would be a game changer? Because the whole point was you're getting off a TV,
100%,
using these social media platforms and these streaming services. And ironically, the thing that you're using the most that's getting you away from the TV is also the thing that's attracting you back to the television, but not to watch TV, but to watch these longer videos on YouTube, because he said it right. Patty Galloway, he's an expert that I stumbled upon years ago and has since worked with Mr. Beast and just knows about the platform. He recently talked about how viewership on TVs has really gone up, and since that, it's been about a year, he says it's continuing to surge up.
I didn't know that.
It's one of the biggest metrics that us YouTubers and experts and creators are just noticing in our analytics. It just got the biggest growth. And that's just simply, like Austin, you said, the viewing behavior is changing. People are using the YouTube app on their TVs. And 3, they just don't want to change the channel. They don't want to pick another video. So when they're geeking out on stuff, they used to maybe watch 2, 3, 4, 5 different videos on that topic. Now they just want one long video. They don't have to think about, and it's everything from education to entertainment, everything in between. So it's not just one type of niche or a handful of niches. It's across the board. There's still a place for a shorter video. I'll give you an example. I needed to roast a chicken. So I asked my Google hub, hey, you know what? I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to activate your hubs. I said, show me how to roast a chicken. Show me a video that was about 5 minutes long, because when I need an answer right away, there's still a place for those type of videos to win and have a place to serve that need. But if I want to hear somebody geek out on roast chicken for an hour, guess what? As I'm roasting the chicken, I want that one video to be playing. Just think about you. If you're passionate about something, you've got a hobby, maybe your profession, you're trying to level up your skills. You might want to listen to a podcast, right? What's also been happening? Podcasts have become video podcasts where? On YouTube. It's just such a convenient tool to use because everything is there. And that's kind of the point. The viewing behavior is changing for a whole section, and what's happening, it's spilling over and overshadowing not just shorts, but just shorter videos, because it's easier.
Can I talk about my perspective about your channel, your food channel? Because I got to be there in 2 major different eras of it, and I think that it really speaks to this story, right? So when you started your channel in 2010, right? And so a few years after that, I got to help you with some of the editing and stuff like that. We were doing like Food Network style videos, highly produced,
short,
super edited,
punchy, straight to the point.
I remember aiming for like 3 minutes. We were going for like 3 minutes all the time, right? We wanted these things to be searchable, go for it, and it was a lot of fun. We made great videos. I'm very proud of the work we did there. We got a lot of views. We had some real bangers, right?
1 million views on a popcorn video.
That's right. That said, after a little bit of time, it became unsustainable, right? Not only for you in terms of like getting the editing and stuff out and like coming up with ideas and stuff like that. There was just more competition and things like that for your channel. And the ROI by like 2020, I'd probably say, just wasn't there for you anymore.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I feel like what happened is, you can probably tell the rest of the story better than I can, but there was a major change for your channel that's reflected in the way that you make videos now. So I don't know if you can take me through that transition when you started to realize people like Sam Sulek really blowing up and changing the game on YouTube in the way that you described.
For sure. And the easiest way to describe it is I was a how-to channel on how to cook these different recipes from 2010 to 2020. That wasn't just by chance, by the way, right? But the ROI wasn't there because I would be putting in even more work. When Austin left, I was working with my current editor, Chris. We'd be putting in more work, doing more efforts. This kind of speaks to that beginning rant I had about you guys working your butt off. Right, for hours and hours and hours, maybe putting in more time, more resources, and more of your skills to this one video that's getting 1/10 of the views. Why is this happening? Well, this is exactly, so I talk about 2024, but this change has been happening since 2020 because in my niche, just my niche alone, guess what? I never worked at a restaurant as a cook. I never went to school as a cook. And even though I pride myself on being able to cook, I'm cooking for my family. I'm not running a business. I'm not.
His food's great, by the way.
Oh, thank you. I'm not trying to win a Michelin star. So those people coming into the scene, already from a skill standpoint and experience in terms of teaching recipes, is going to be doing laps around me. Now, arguably, I couldn't got better, but guess what? I also had my other family vlog channel. I had so many projects. I was writing the book, YouTube Secrets. So this isn't an excuse or justification why I wasn't succeeding. It was just telling you the reality that so many of you live in right now. You kind of use this term of becoming a commodity, right? Becoming something that you can replicate if you have enough resources and you have enough experts. People like a Patty Galloway, you know, coaches to teach you like a Sean Cattle. The problem is, it's creating competition for all these different creators. My whole thing is this. I stopped my channel because I didn't see the ROI there, and my passion wasn't being shared because I went to a how-to channel that was so optimized. I pulled out all the personality, all the uniqueness, and I literally was just competing against everybody else for that ranking, for searchable content. The realization that I made in the end of 2023 when I saw, okay, there's this new wave of YouTube, people are watching these longer videos, and people like a Sam Sulek, this big buff guy, doesn't even have like a crazy entertaining personality, but it's interesting for his niche, for his viewers who want to know, how did he get so big and ripped and strong? They just wanted to connect with him. It was like old school YouTube was coming back with a vengeance. And it makes sense because that's what YouTube was made for. They called it YouTube, broadcast yourself for a reason. And it's almost as if I forgot that the reason people connect with creators on YouTube is ultimately they feel like they know them. By the way, should we turn around?
Yeah, let's turn around.
Because I'm getting hot. Okay.
Beautiful.
Seattle waterfront. There's a cruise ship. I've never actually been over here when there was a cruise ship.
Oh, really?
And they've got something going on over there. Okay, I should have packed a water. Okay.
So end of 2023, you realize Sam Sulek is blowing up.
Yes, and what I realized was like, okay, for myself, just for myself, I thought, number one, this new wave of YouTube, these longer videos, it's just vlogs on steroids. What me and Judy already were doing on our family channel, which had continued to be successful during this time, but wasn't growing at the same rate. So I thought, you know what? Let me just vlog this thing at the highest levels. I'm not gonna worry about being better than other channels or teaching better than other cooks. I'm just gonna cook for the sake of cooking. I'm gonna shop for food at the grocery store. I'm gonna literally just let all the ideas, thoughts, stories, perspectives, opinions on that topic, while at the same time combining it with the optimized nature of YouTube search and taking advantage of suggested, I'll get to that another day, right? To create content around the things that not only I'm interested in, but other people that are on YouTube looking for that content are also interested in. What I became was a food vlogger, a true food vlogger. And so since 2023, November 31st of 2023, I've uploaded almost 200 videos with way less work. I'm still working with Chris, by the way, he's my editor, right? Getting, I don't even know, like 20x the views. I've made more AdSense income in the last, well, it's going on like
almost a year.
Almost a year, right?
8 months
than I ever had in any 4-year period of my YouTube experience. And it's because of what's going on. My realization that there is all these variables. By the way, I never really answered it in a concise way about what the hell is going on in YouTube. YouTube has always had challenges for creators. There's ups and downs, algorithm changes, just like new competitor platforms, viewing behavior evolutions, but we never had all these elements happening all at once. The YouTube Shorts thing, it's already enough to create a lot of competition, but you have that along with the fact that YouTube is the #1 video platform and everybody's flocking to it, not just new creators, brands and businesses, but those creators from other platforms that see YouTube as an opportunity. And then on top of it, you've got this new viewing habit of watching longer videos, which means when you're watching an hour-long video, that's that many less shorts you're clicking on or swiping through, and that's that many less just regular YouTube videos of yours that you're watching. So just by default, if you're geeking out, like my editor says, if you're just geeking out on one topic for an hour, sometimes that's enough to be the video that people want to watch versus the one that's produced, that's got a whole team behind it, that's edited, got the perfect thumbnail, perfect title, but it's too short.
Yeah.
That's nuts, because that means it's not about the work, and it's not even about the length, it's about the creator. And the secret to Sam Sulek's success, in my opinion right now, outside of the fact that he is buff, he does know a lot of things about, you know, becoming stronger, regardless of how he does it, people feel connected to him. And that's always been the name of the game of YouTube, that a lot of celebrities and other people that look at YouTube and scratch their head like, why are these people so successful? The audience connects with these creators because they show up. And that's why these new style of videos that are longer, that are easier to produce, making it easier for you to upload more often, in my case, sometimes like 4 to 7 days a week, makes it more likely that you're gonna connect with the audience. So next time you upload, they're gonna be more likely to watch your video versus a highly produced piece of content, or even like a Mr. Beast type of video, because they feel like they know you, you're becoming their friend.
Yeah.
Anyways.
That relationship is what I think the key is that you and I have landed on over the last year of you doing this. Even with my channel is a good example of that. One of the very first things that we did with my channel was focus on a very specific viewer. There was a relatively obscure Apple product being launched, right? The Apple Vision Pro. And we decided that we would make a channel around this very specific thing that few other people were covering, right? And really, it became one of those things where it was very easy for us to envision who our viewer was, right? And so
random runner, we're in the way of them.
With that being the case, right? I think that has been the same thing for your channel, just the same way it has been that way for Sam Sulek's channel, right? Your audience, you know exactly who you're reaching. You've been making videos for these people for a very long period of time. And what has happened that has been amazing, I think, for your channel that we've talked about, is that by focusing on that one specific type of viewer that you're trying to reach, it actually has reached new viewers that are like them and has brought you to new places on your channel that you never thought you'd even go necessarily, right? And so you and I talk a lot about advice, and so maybe it'd be a good way to wrap up this video is talking about advice around that and figuring out how to get started again with this new wave of YouTube that we've been really chatting about.
Well, I want to give you a little more credit than you gave yourself because to summarize what you said, I was the one that said, hey, if you're going to buy Apple Vision Pro, might as well start a channel around that product. Be super niche down. I was like going against my own advice. Austin was the one that made the turn, and instead of thinking about this product and the searches around it, he wanted to think about the viewer and the type of content they want to view in relation to what he wanted to talk about and what he wanted, and he made that connection to a type of viewer, not somebody that had a specific search need, right? Being Apple Vision Pro.
We're talking like very nerdy, cutting edge, developer type, like coding programmer nerds,
Apple culture enthusiasts, people in that industry, and even the comments on his videos. they were lengthy,
Yeah, we're talking like
blog
essays.
posts,
Yeah.
right? Okay, because he was connecting with an audience that he could relate to,
Yeah.
and we're vibing with him, even though he had this brand new channel in a very competitive niche, because the overarching niche is technology.
Yeah.
And he was getting more views than he got subscribers. And to this day, you know, like, by the way, when you do this type of content, I'm not guaranteeing any views in a day. Just because you're doing longer videos, you become a blogger and you're talking to this one, it doesn't happen overnight. But I'll tell you, compared to most other channels that struggled, he had a leg up, because this is the takeaway. He understood what was going on on the platform, because he was observing these things. I was telling him what's happening. He's seeing me have my success and going against even my advice. I don't even know why I told you that, right? Thinking, okay, rather than going this rankable video strategy, why don't I connect with people? And I think the secondary layer to that, being suggested to viewers that watch those ranked videos.
Yes.
That's one of the big secrets. Ultimately, the most important thing people can do right now, think about who you want to create for, what you want to create, and what is it that you can create that they want to binge watch, like a Netflix series or HBO show, with very little production. But guess what? There's so much more to it. I think that would be the way I'd summarize it. More important than any of that, I just want to alleviate the frustrations that you creators, as well as I had for a number of years, of what is happening on YouTube. That's hard to see when you're inside of your own niche and you're in one type of format and you're not connecting with other creators or looking at it from a big open perspective like I am, because I'm connected to so many creators. I coach a lot of creators and channels, and this is just something that I kind of made the realization. And rather than just me talk about it, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna start uploading videos in this new format, in this new environment. Guess what? I just happened to be right this one time, right? Is that pretty good?
I think so. No, I mean, I think as we close things out here, you have talked about, again, just recapping that this is a unique time in YouTube history. There are a lot of people quitting. There are a lot of people coming on to the platform, right? There's a lot of, you have told me in the past that your goal here is to add clarity to what is actually happening on the reality of the platform, rather than what we think maybe was happening 5 years ago, right? And so my hope is that a lot of people take your advice in the way that I did, because I found a lot of success in that, right? You told me about trying to reach a whole room full of people versus having coffee with one person and focusing on that person. And I think as people, either start up their channels again or reorient their channels or take another approach, that was the most helpful piece of advice for me getting started on my YouTube channel, is focusing on one person that I could reach and growing that sort of crowd from there.
There you go. Hey, if you guys thought this was interesting, you're curious on how I was able to implement this strategy for myself, I created a vlogging checklist. This is a checklist I go through before every single upload to help me guarantee more views than if I just was leaving it up to chance. A link down below, just click it and you'll get the vlogger checklist sent to you. And I'm excited for this new era, where I do believe, just like I always say, but more so now than ever, there's still so much opportunity. You just have to understand what that opportunity is and then have clarity for yourself so that you're not as frustrated when you don't get a lot of views. And hopefully, if you download my checklist, you're actually getting a lot of views. Okay, man, subscribe. I'll talk to you later.